Most of you watching are spending way too much on your mobile contract, but I can help. Not only are most of you spending too much, but you're most likely with the wrong network provider entirely. So in this video, I'm going to go over which is the best network for you, what data package you need, and where to find the best deals. Which network is the best for you? This method can be used around the world, but I'm going to use the UK as my home country as an example. So starting with a search engine, you're going to search Mobile Coverage Checker. This will bring out a bunch of different websites where you can check network coverage in your area. In the UK, we have a website called Ofcom, which is a regulator of networks, so a pretty reliable source where you can check mobile coverage in your area. I'm going to use Oxford as an example, and as you can see from the map, it also has a list of all the top networks and what percentage of coverage or the best optimization and speed you can get through these networks. So through the summary, you can see that Vodafone at 81% is recommended as my best network for my area. You do also have a visual map of the strong signals and if it's good indoors or outdoor signal through your area, and you can flick between the networks on the drop down to choose and see what different networks have for coverage in your area. So what I would recommend is see where you hang out the most and see what signal strength is for that area. For me, there's two locations, my home and work. Those are the two locations I'm most at, and I would like the best coverage for those areas. And for me personally, Vodafone covers both those areas the best. Some traps that people fall in is when they see a network advertised they cover 99% of the UK, which they do, it's just the performance of some areas are not going to be great. So when checking to see which network offers the best performance for your area, it can be so important. For in my case, Vodafone, I can get over 100 meg download through my house and also where I work with Vodafone. Other networks, I can barely get 10 megabytes download. So that difference is huge. And like I mentioned, I wouldn't have known this unless I actually checked to see the signal strength using these websites to find out which is the best for me. So now we know which network is the best for us. Now, how much data do we actually need? So there's two main ways to find out how much data you use month on month. Number one is on your phone. If you go to settings and search, you should be able to search data usage or mobile network and hopefully find an option that shows you how much data you use month on month. For me, it shows that I used 6.2 gigabytes this month alone, and last month 3.5 gigabytes. So not a huge amount, but that lets me know that I have quite a varied range, but it's definitely always under 10 gigabytes a month. So when looking for a contract for me, I would want at least 10 gigabytes just so I have a buffer. Even though I don't usually get above 10 gigabytes, it's still nice to know that I have a little bit of wiggle room. And even so, I might want to go a little bit above just for that rare case if my internet at the home goes down, that I have a little bit more usage just in case it steps up. Because even though I don't use a lot, that's most likely because when I'm at home, I'm on Wi-Fi. When I'm at work, I'm on Wi-Fi. If I go to friends and family's houses, I'm also on Wi-Fi. And secondly, you can always check with your provider. So most of them have an app where you can check what your usage is or what you have remaining, and you can see previous months to see what you've used, and you can work out an average. Worst case, you can always just call up your current provider and ask the question, how much data do I use on average, or how much data have I used month on month, and work out your own average, and then that way you can sort of get an estimate of what package you need. I've had loads of friends and family that are on unlimited packages or 100 gigabyte a month packages, and when I ask them how much data do they actually use and show them how to check, they're always shocked at how little they actually use, and they're overpaying for these massive contracts they never need. So now we have the network we want and also how much data we need. Let's go find a deal. Before we do though, I just want to mention a few points. Number one, it's incredibly easy to move your current phone number from one provider to another. A lot of them can do it while you fill out a form when you're buying a new contract. It is super straightforward, incredibly easy. Don't let that be a reason why you don't switch to a better deal just to save your number. You will get your number from one provider to another. Also, I want to point out, when I keep mentioning contract, I actually wouldn't advise here in the UK getting a contract. Back in the day, they would be a saving if you commit for 12 months, 24 months. That doesn't exist anymore. And there's also other issues now the UK has left the EU. You have to pay roaming charges while on a contract while visiting other countries. On pay-as-you-go, SIM-only deals, you don't need to do that. Let me explain that a bit further because not everybody knows about this. If you're on a contract and you're visiting a European country, there is a roaming charge of like £3 a day to use your data in that country. If you don't have a contract and you just have a rolling payment that's on pay-as-you-go, those don't apply. So you'll see when you're looking for deals, especially ones that don't have any contracts or no contract deals, you'll see that it includes a whole list of countries you can use your minutes, your data for free in that country. Now let's check out some of the comparison sites. I'm going to use Uswitch, and if you go onto Uswitch, you'll see there is a filter option for different network providers. I'm going to filter by Vodafone because that's the best for me, and you'll see it has a whole load of different companies. Some of these are third parties that piggyback off of Vodafone. Now, some people might worry that a third party might not have the same performance as Vodafone directly, but it's actually illegal for them to reduce the speeds. So you're going to have the exact same speeds and performance as if you went to Vodafone yourself if you went to a third party. And the benefit of going to a third party is with competition, they have better competitive rates. So when looking for a deal for me, I've got Vodafone. I know I roughly want between 10 and 30 gigabytes, and also I don't want a contract because if I go on holiday in the EU, I don't want to pay a roaming charge. So when I look at the options given to me, the first one is Lebara, and it's actually incredibly cheap. I have to say sorry to the US watchers or other countries that watch where your networks are actually really expensive. Here in the UK, it's such a competitive market that it's actually really affordable. So as you can see with Lebara, I can get 30 gigabytes of data, which is, like I mentioned, for me, more than enough. That's a huge amount of data for me personally. And I'm going to pay £2.39 a month for the first 3 months. That is so cheap. And even after the 3 months, it's only going up to about £8. So that's roughly about $10 or just over $10. And that's roughly about $4 a month. That's crazy for that deal. So cheap. And like I mentioned, I'm looking for about 10 gigabytes to 30 gigabytes, and this is at the higher end for such a cheap price. So I actually don't need to really look for any other option. There is other options I obviously can look for, but this is such a good one that it could be one I go for. And the deal under that is with Talk Mobile that also goes through Vodafone, and the deal is for 80 gigabytes at £8.95. So that is incredible value, but it's more than I need, even though it's only £1 more per month after the first 3 months of the Lebara contract. It's still way more than I need. Like I said, the top end is 30 gigabytes I need. This is almost triple that, which is just overkill. And even though it's not a lot more money, it's still more money than I need to pay. And another helpful tip is not just checking what countries are listed in the free roaming, but also checking the limits of data for free roaming. For instance, with Lebara, you get 30 gigabytes of your data for free roaming in the countries they list, but whereas Talk Mobile only gives 5 gigabytes a month for the countries they list, so a lot less. So depending if you go into the EU quite a lot from the UK, it might be worth considering going to a different provider that offers better gigabyte packages for their free roaming. So guys, that's the video. Make sure to send this to friends and family so they can also save money and get the best performance and best network for them. Make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys next time.